Another week, another painful reminder that being the sole operator of a news show is my own boulder of Sisyphus. This is Friday Night News on a Saturday night, and before we begin tonight, I think I should make it clear that we will not be talking about Israel and Palestine again. I am refusing to. If you want more information on that, you're going to have to go to another news source. It is too much. Too much. Too often. You know, I am choosing to avoid it right now. Unfortunately, we won't have near as much time as we do usually. It is 1940 here, and I've got to do something at 22, I mean. So I've got a few hours, but not really enough to actually write stories as they're meant to be. So we're not going to be able to cover all of the news stories that I want to cover. For example, I really wanted to talk about what Texas is doing about their road laws. I wanted to talk about what Japan is doing for trans people, what Spain is doing for the environment and the economy. But unfortunately, we only have time for 3 stories tonight. And they're all downers. So you'll have to stick with me as we basically dredge through human waste in tonight's episode. We open up tonight with shootings in Maine. The Republicans have finally chosen a lich suitable for the speaker position, and a new tanky party is in Germany. All fun. The shooting in Maine seems to be yet another example of, well, it's another example of no way to prevent this as the only nation where it happens regularly. There's a lot I want to say about this, and I really don't know in what order to say it. There's a lot of important thoughts here. Primarily, however, I think it's important to note that the police have all this training, all this equipment and training and funding, and for what? For this guy to be nowhere to be seen for 48 hours? I was writing this in my notes, oh yeah, I bet if this guy was black, they wouldn't have even let him get away from the plaza. This is insane that, just all this spending, all this police terrorizing citizens just to let an actual threat, an actual crime just slip away. Just 48 hours of nothing. It's an absolute joke. Now, again, this also goes to previous theories that these are not lone wolf crimes of weird mental illness that everyone likes to keep pointing the camera at, but rather the far right being reactionary and violent. My theory that they're correlated, that every one of these incidences is a far right terrorist attack, is a theory in the same way gravity is. There's a lot of these theories being said by a lot of leftists, and I personally, this is mine. Every single one of these attacks, just a far right asshole who, I don't know, didn't get their dick sucked recently. It's far too common that you find correlations here, and it's really, really upsetting that just no one seems to talk about it, not on a level that matters. We have so much evidence that the right wing in America is really dangerous and keeps on doing these attacks, and no one's talking about it, not on a level that matters. You'll hear about it at your dinner table, and that's it. It's upsetting, especially because there was some Democrats in Maine who, I think they were in Maine, who were talking about how, like, oh, this shifted them on the gun issue. Like, I think congressmen, no, House representatives were like, oh, this shifts me on the gun issue. And frankly, I don't give a shit. The thing I gave a shit about, which most of the time in these sorts of stories, and I'm really glad that this precedent has somewhat, I don't want to say been broken, but it's been challenged in this one, is I care about the victims, and finally, you know, someone talked about them. It seems like no one ever talks about the victims, and they're all like almost always just like numbers on a screen. And I unfortunately wasn't able to spend as much time reading all of them, the brief on who these people were. But every time I sat down to read one of them, it was like, oh yeah, wait, no, they were actual people. There's actual people with actual human responses, and they aren't a goddamn number. And so I thank Reuters, who's on the screen right now, for, you know, printing this. But furthermore, I ask why I don't see this more often. I would spend more time reading out this specific article, but I don't have time tonight, and I'm sorry about that. The House has a speaker, and it's a doozy. I would like to introduce you all to Mike, the 14 Wikipedia sub-articles that were all harder to read than the last, Johnson. I really don't have time to summarize this guy, but you can basically think of him as the most boring horseman of the apocalypse. You have war, conquest, hunger, and then backroom fucking asshole. On my Wikipedia dive into what this guy represents, I went through all 7 stages of grief. He's one mustache away from being a historical figure that all media wants to do an analogy to, but can't be too direct of fear of getting too real. Oh wow, this really just covers my face, doesn't it? Okay. Johnson has supported election fraud claims, supports on abortion, supports bans on abortion nationally, denies that human caused climate change, and wants to make it institutionally difficult as possible to do no-fault divorce. And that's just some of what our new Speaker of the House represents. And from what I can tell, he's already hard at work. This guy is a true blue blood asshole, and you really just gotta hand it to him for being such that guy. A lich, as I say, a ghoul. Finally tonight, and this is gonna cover my face again, the German Die Linke party has splintered into Die Linke and this new goddamn party that is just tankies. It's just tankies. Something I think about often whenever I see conservative leftism, or you know, leftists who are, you know, socially left but socially economically left, socially right, is they're not going to be economically left. They don't give a shit. That's not what they care about. They want to do conservatism and appeal to younger generations. That's it. It's been it throughout history, and that is it every time it happens, and it'll be what it is until, like, I don't know, history ends. All this is really going to do is separate the already weak German left and bring in more room for tankies. Right now, perfect time to make the National Socialist jokes. I was trying to think of where I was gonna like fit that in. It's just like, remember, say that. But yeah, no, literally, these guys, they shouldn't even be taken seriously. That's how dumb they are. It's not even worth like thinking about. That's how bad policy they are. You can't really be economically left and socially right. They're basically like you can do one or the other. They're mutually exclusive. So my goddamn jacket collar is doing the vampire thing. It's completely unintentional. It's kind of cool in here, and I thought the jacket would look nice, and now it's just ruining everything. Anyway, I think if you hear someone saying, oh yeah, we're economically left, but that's when you should just punch them in the face. It's like punching a Nazi. They gave you the right to the moment they said it, you know? It's completely okay. They gave you the right. Not only the right, the responsibility. Anyway, this was an incredibly short FNN, but I just don't have time this week. Next week should be better. It was kind of, I felt very pressed for time this week. As you can see, because I did not make good graphics this week. I mean, it's better than last week where I just like scrolled my news articles. It's like, this is an interesting story. Let's read it. At the very least, I actually, made assets this week. I keep on writing really long scripts for something I want to talk about, and then failing to deliver on those scripts completely because, I don't know, I want to look at the camera and not my Word document. So I might start uploading sections of script that I really liked to social media platforms like Facebook or Twitter, or maybe just putting like a script bin in Discord where it's like, all right, and by the way, this is the article, or something like that. I don't really want to get in the habit of writing articles, but it would be nice to just like have somewhere to go to put the unaltered version of a script, unaltered by my own failure to read the script. Somewhere where people could actually see what I really wanted to say about a subject, though that's technically supposed to be here. My ear is now killing me, so I've really got to I really got to end the video. It will be Halloween soon, so people in America, stay safe. I don't necessarily think anything too bad's gonna happen, but it's always good. Stay safe. And I hope everyone has a nice Halloween. I hope everyone has a nice rest of the weekend. And my phone is going off, so it's really time for me to end the goddamn video. I'll see you all next week.